flu is on the move. The virus has arrived in yet another province.
They're concerned about any health problem that's on the mainland. It's not going to stay there.
Showing the vaccine only thought to be 10% effective.
Nationwide, there are already more than 41,000 cases confirmed. Every state in the country reporting widespread flu activity.
As of this morning, 18 countries around the world have reported cases of the flu within their borders.
Numbers out of Australia as of mid-October are concerning. If you get sick, stay home.
The Elephant Whisperer by Lawrence Anthony. I have never heard of Lawrence Anthony prior to getting this book. I think it came up on my Audible recommendations when I was looking at other animal-based books, and I got it on a whim. And I gotta say, this Lawrence Anthony guy is probably my new hero. This guy is nuts. It doesn't really go into detail on what his business was. He was obviously a successful businessman of some kind. He had some cash. But what kind of a person decides to open up a game reserve in Africa as kind of a loose retirement? Well, as it turns out, Lawrence Anthony. He had no experience with elephants prior to getting a herd just basically dumped into his lap. A bunch of rogue elephants that were going to be destroyed if nobody would take them. And I think he was like the last choice. Hey, we'll call this guy. We'll see if he wants them. If not, well, we'll make them into dog food, kind of a thing. And he was like, sure. And all he had to pay for was shipping, which apparently shipping elephants is expensive. But these elephants were free for a reason. They were like problem elephants. They were constantly breaking out, running through town, causing ruckus, violent. And the last thing you want is a rogue elephant running around your game reserve, running through villages. He had to basically redesign his whole game reserve, build fences, constantly dealing with saboteurs. The saboteurs would infiltrate his group of rangers, constantly at all hours having to go out and fight off poachers. Poachers cutting holes in his fence. I think one time he saw unmarked helicopters flying over his property, scoping out the herds. There's all kinds of just crazy stuff. Plus there was a culture shock, dealing with the local tribes and people that he would hire. But most of the people he would hire, they were pretty wild too. One guy was coming back from some party, but was a little bit drunk and pulled over and dropped the tailgate of his Land Rover, jumped in back to sleep it off. And as the story goes, he woke up feeling something tugging on his boot. So he wakes up and he looks and there's a hyena tugging on his boot. So he's telling one of the guys back at the resort what happened. And they're like, well, what'd you do? And his response was, well, I just kicked him in the snout, told him to knock it off, and went back to sleep. Any normal person would have slept in the truck, or after having a hyena tug on your boot, would have at least folded up the tailgate or something. So I guess is what I'm saying is this book is all basically a struggle. Starting off with these elephants being rogue, slowly gaining their trust, how he did that, which is amazing, all the while fighting off poachers, trying to educate the tribes around, trying to convince them that a live elephant is worth more than a dead elephant, whether it's for the tusks or for the meat, and finding a way to fund it all. Now, he was rich-ish. Like I said, the book doesn't really go into detail. He would have to go away for business at times. It doesn't say what his business was, which is also funny because the elephants would act differently with him gone. But like I said, he had to be a little bit wild to have thought of opening up a game reserve in Africa, but he was running out of money, so he invited over his accountant, and he was determined not to let the park die. It sounds like it was kind of in the earlier stages of his park. There are obviously other animals roaming around, rhinos, lions, and everything else, basically in his backyard. By the way, it sounds like the rhinos were almost like big dogs, just laying in the driveway and wherever else. But he has his accountant over, and he's determined to make it work. Well, it gets late into the hours. His accountant's like, all right, I'm going to come back tomorrow, and we're going to figure this out. And Lawrence was like, no, we got to do it tonight. I'm not going to be able to sleep anyways. We have to figure this out tonight. It's got to be solved tonight. I am not closing the park. The accountant's like, it's late. I'm tired. I'm going to go home. So he says, okay, that's fine. Let me walk you outside. Walks his accountant out to his car, and he's like, whoa. You can't go anywhere. There's a problem with your car. I don't want you getting stuck down the road. The accountant looks at his car and says, what's wrong with it? Lawrence Anthony pulls out his pistol and shoots out the tires. He's like, your tires are flat. Why don't you just spend the night? Come on back inside. We'll have some wine. We'll figure this out. And then you don't have to come back tomorrow because you'll already be here. But it's more than that. He develops a huge park and a deep relationship with the elephants. But to be honest, it kind of ends on a sad note, which is not great, but I guess it comes with the territory. Strongly recommend getting this book. As a matter of fact, I bought the other two books in the series, Babylon's Ark and The Last Rhino. So I'm looking forward to those. I think Babylon's Ark, part of that story is either while this part of the story was going on or prior to it. But either way, I'm pretty excited, and I'm pretty sure the last rhino was last. I would have loved to have gotten a whole long series, but I think Lawrence Anthony is dead, if I'm not mistaken. As always, I'm a huge fan of any kind of animal stories like this. And I loved how he didn't shy away from the challenge of controlling these big, powerful animals that were just rogue and nobody wanted to deal with them. But on a whim, he took them. Great story, greatly narrated, and I can't wait to read the other two. Let me know what you guys thought of it, and I'll talk to you next time.